Welcome to the Explainer. You know that simple tap you just made on your phone? You probably think you just started a video, but what you really did was wake up a giant. Today, we're going to connect that one little tap to the massive, invisible world of AI and the cloud. Let's dig in.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the AI that's, kind of hiding in plain sight. Then we're going to peek under the hood and see how these things actually think. We'll cover how you can talk to one. And finally, we're going to track down where these digital brains actually live. And that's going to take us right inside the cloud.
All right, first up, AI is everywhere. And I mean, you're using it way more than you think. So let's start with a simple reality check.
So are you using AI right now? Just take a second. The answer? It's almost certainly a yes. And the thing is, AI is so woven into our lives now that most of the time, we don't even see it. I mean, think about it. That package that showed up at your door, an algorithm, an AI, figured out the best way to get it there. The traffic lights that hopefully turn green for you. Yep, AI helps manage that flow. It's the robots building cars, it's the little editor in Microsoft Office that saves you from typos, and of course, it's the personal assistant on your phone like Siri or Gemini. It's basically the invisible engine running our world.
Okay, so we've established it's everywhere, but that brings up the big question. What is this stuff? How do we go from a dumb calculator to a digital brain that can actually, think?
Well, at its heart, artificial intelligence, or AI, is really just a field of computer science trying to do one thing: create machines that can do things that normally need human smarts. To put it simply, we're talking about computers that can think. And believe it or not, this idea has been around for a long time.
Yeah, we have to go all the way back to the 1950s. This is when researchers first started getting serious about it. And one of the biggest names, a guy you've probably heard of, was Alan Turing. He was a British mathematician who basically laid down the foundational questions like, can a machine actually think?
And he came up with this really elegant way to test it, called the Turing test. It's super simple, really. If you're chatting with something, and you honestly can't tell if it's a human or a computer, then congratulations, that machine has passed the test. So how are modern computers trying to pull this off?
Well, they basically decided to copy the best computer out there, our own brains. They're programmed to process data in a similar way using something called neural networks. You can just picture a massive digital spiderweb with billions and billions of connections, all firing off, kind of like the neurons in your head. And these neural networks are in action all around us. See, you have to train these digital brains. You feed them just a ridiculous amount of data. You want it to know what a cat is? You show it millions of pictures of cats. That's how image recognition on your phone works. It's the same idea with voice assistants like Siri and Alexa. They've listened to countless hours of speech to figure out what you're saying.
So while AI is running all that stuff in the background, the kind you're probably hearing about and maybe even talking to right now, that's a large language model, or for short, an LLM.
And yeah, you've definitely heard these names. We're talking ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini from Google, Meta's AI. These are the big players, the ones all over the news. And they are absolute wizards when it comes to understanding and using language.
But here's the magic trick. It's not really thinking, not in the way you and I do. What it is an incredibly powerful prediction machine. It's been trained on just an insane amount of text. Think like a huge chunk of the internet. And it's gotten ridiculously good at predicting what words should come next. It's a pattern-matching superstar, and it's so good that it feels like you're talking to something that thinks. And what can you do with one of these? Well, the list is getting longer every day. You can ask it to explain quantum physics like you're 5 years old. You can give it a few bullet points and have it draft a professional email for you. You can even describe an image in your head and have it create it from scratch. They're basically turning into these super-powered personal assistants. But that leads to a really important question. All that thinking, where is it actually happening? Because I can tell you right now, it's not happening on your phone. Your phone is nowhere near powerful enough. So where is it?
The answer is a word you hear thrown around constantly, but maybe you've never really thought about what it is physically. The answer is the cloud.
Yep, the cloud. Every single time you talk to an AI, your phone sends that request flying across the internet to its real home. But what is the cloud really?
Okay, let's get this straight. A cloud computer system isn't some mystical thing. It's basically a giant building, or a whole network of buildings, stuffed full of powerful computers.
And these are owned by big tech companies who then rent out computer services, like processing power or storage, to anyone who needs it.
And why the cloud? It's actually a funny little throwback. Back in the day, when engineers were drawing up diagrams of computer systems, they'd get to a part that was super complex, like the internet, and instead of drawing every little wire, they'd just draw a fluffy cloud. It was shorthand for a bunch of complicated stuff happens in here, and the name just stuck.
All right, so let's move beyond the metaphor. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the actual physical reality of what's inside this so-called digital cloud. Because it's not a concept, it's a place. A very real, very big building called a data center. And inside, it's just packed to the rafters with rows and rows of computers, network gear, and massive storage drives, all humming with electricity.
Now sure, some giant companies might build their own private ones for security or whatever, but for the most part, smaller organizations, startups, and yeah, basically all the AIs you and I use, they just rent computer time from one of the big cloud providers. It's like renting an apartment instead of buying a whole building. And when it comes to who's renting out that space, there are really only 3 names you need to know. Amazon with AWS, Microsoft with Azure, and Google. They are the big 3. They absolutely dominate the cloud services market. So when you talk to an AI, you're almost certainly talking to a computer sitting in one of their giant buildings.
So let's bring this all full circle. That little tap on your phone, it's not just opening an app, it's waking up a giant. It's sending a signal, maybe thousands of miles, to a massive AI brain living inside the cloud. And what's really wild is that this has created a powerful feedback loop. The smarter AI gets, the bigger and more powerful the cloud has to become to support it. And as the cloud gets bigger, it allows AI to get even smarter. It's this incredible cycle of growth that just keeps accelerating. Which leaves us with one final, very big question to think about. What happens next? What happens when the cloud gets even bigger and the AI gets even smarter?